either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. No, you didn't say that. It was Harvey Dent who said that. I mean, if you're trying to change the system, then you should at least get your facts right. Moving on, a guy wakes up, he takes his breakfast, he bathes and gets ready for his job. He takes his daughter along with him. He drops her to school. He goes to a job. He works hard. He earns some money. He comes back. He picks her daughter up. He goes back to his home. Then the family goes out for a dinner. And your goons are on the streets creating chaos. They're killing people. They're murdering people. They're burning cars. They're breaking street lights. They're damaging roads. They're stopping traffic. And in that chaos, you kill that little girl. Do you justify your actions? Do you think that that person deserved to die? Do you not think that you should have given a second thought? You should have acted on better judgment. Do you not think that you are not only clinically psychopathic but also a social psychopath?
See, people see me as their own perspective. Ask that guy sometime. Does he want that life that he's living right now? To work 75 jobs, to earn hard for his family? Doesn't he don't want a huge pile of money in front of him? Don't he want to give the time to his family and his daughters? He's just bounded by the societal norms. He just don't like what he do. He's doing it because of the societal norms and the societal cultures that are endorsed in him. I am just a mirror what he should have done, but he didn't do. I'm not a psychopath. I am just ahead of the curve. You just don't like what you see. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve that's already lost its way. The starting, I thought that I'm the only one who is not noticed. Now, yes, I know. I'm starting to be noticed. I love that. I love that very much. People are noticing me. I love that.
Did you have any bit of shame? And if you did have it, then you would have surely thought that you should surely be a mirror to oneself first, then becoming a mirror to society. Only to become a mirror to the society is just not sufficient enough, Mr. Joker, is what I'd like to say right now. Thank you. Other jurors will ask their questions.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you pardon the question?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just saying that one needs to mirror unto oneself first before being the mirror to the society. You should have given it a second thought at least. Because there are two kinds of people in Gotham, the ones who are with Joker and the ones who are with Batman. And the third is the system itself, if you can see it. So that is the thing, na, that Batman is, this is the thing that separates Batman from the Joker.
I don't think what I do. I just do it, and things happens. You see, the ones who were with Batman, they stood against him when at the end the Harvey Dent crimes that Harvey Dent did. He put those crimes on himself. He was the one who was oppressed as the villain at that time. The people supporting him, they made him the villain. I'm not the one. People supporting me are still supporting me because we have the same ideology. But they just don't want to be the bad guy in the societal norms. They just want their image to be portrayed as a good guy. See, what I do, everyone wants to do that, but they just don't want to portray themselves as a villain in the society. I'm not a psychopath. I'm just ahead of the curve. My whole life, I didn't even know if I existed, but I do, and people are starting to notice that. And before anyone would judge me, make sure that they are perfect. Because I don't care what I do, I just do it. You can call me a psychopath. Because you can laugh at me because I'm different. I can laugh at you because you're all the same.
In your own
Okay.
words,
So,
before anyone judges me, you should be perfect. That also applies to you as well. You should judge yourself before judging the society. And second, you could have also ended the statement at I don't think I just instead of saying I don't think I just act, you could have just said I don't think because do you know why? You cannot.
Sir, may I answer that?
I wasn't asking a question, I was just not asking a question. That's it. The other jurors might ask the questions if they want to ask.
Okay. So, Joker, should we say that in the sake of attention, for the attention, you had crossed the lines of American streets and increasing your chaos?
I don't want attention. I've mentioned it multiple times earlier. I'm a guy of simple taste. But for the sake of the society, I'm not there to protect and prevent anyone. For that case, we have a guy, good guy named Batman. He can't even do that stuff. Big man in a suit of armor. Let's not forget the fact that I am the Joker. I'm an agent of chaos. I'm just here to make chaos. That gives me happiness. In fact, that gives happiness to multiple people. Remember that mob meeting? I'm not here to prevent anyone. I'm not here to prevent anyone from doing anything bad. That mob meeting had bad guys, right? I went there with grenades on my jacket. Remember that? I'm just an agent. I like explosion. I like dynamite. I like stuff.
Okay. So, now you are saying that you didn't want attention. People just noticed you. But few minutes or few lines earlier, you had said that people started noticing you and you are currently liking it that people started noticing and you want to be more noticed. So you just contradicted the two statement that few minutes or few lines before you had said that you didn't want to be noticed, and then you are saying that you are liking the attention you are getting. So that's was my question, that the attention you are getting and to increasing that attention, can we say that you are increasing the chaos on the streets just for the case of attention?
What I did was creating chaos, not in the name of attention. But sure, if I'm getting an attention, I'm starting to love it. I'm starting to like that what people notice about me. I'm starting that people are starting to follow me. I'm liking it that people are wearing my mask to follow what I'm doing, to follow my principles. Oh, sorry, I don't follow one. But what I do is to chaos. People are loving that. And I love that very much when I'm getting those undivided attention from people. Whether it is positive or negative, I don't care. I'm just an agent of chaos and I'll keep doing that. Ta-da!
Okay, good. You don't care. It was nice to hear. Other judges, please.
Good driving, though. Good driving. Good. Glad to hear that you don't care. Very good. I guess that should be it, guys. If anyone else has to ask questions, I guess it is enough questions for now. We can. The juniors, can we move on?
I guess we should move on.
So,
Yes,
Okay.
we can move on to next.
yes. Just a second, Vishaka. Just a second.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek, very good on keeping the character intact, not losing the character in the middle of the conversation. And sometimes, it appeared to me that you were just repeating statements mindlessly and not saying anything different, apart from the first few sentences. So very good that you tried to hide this in this paragraph that you were repeating, but still, because the Joker is a very difficult and a very different character. For the Joker, you actually need to go very deep into his psyche. So hence, I was trying to push you push you to the corner just so that you can say something very original. But no problem. Good attempt. Very good. Commendable. So, very good. Yeah. Thank you, Abhishek. Yes, Vishaka, please.
Okay. So we have our next candidate, Swastika Kesarwani, first BTech Civil Engineering. Personality chosen is Barack Obama and language preference is English. Swastika, can we have you here? It's,
Am I audible or visible?
yes, Swastika, you are
You're audible.
audible and
Good afternoon, respected ma'ams and respected sirs. Swastika Keshwani, first BTech Civil Engineering. Today, I stand before you as President Barack Obama. I identified myself as progressive and optimistic leader. In the stage of war, I aim to reshape the American defense system. However, I understand the need of decisive action to address allegations on me for execution of drone strike. I know that decision of drone strike was not made lightly. In the world where threats are more diffuse, the safety of my people is my topmost concern. Drone strike is an epitome of defense strategy when blended perfectly with technology. We all know that rise of terrorist organization is a global threat, not American threat only. Like Al Qaeda, ISI, who performed the horrible act of 9/11, which killed more than 1,000 people. This created an urgency to protect American life and grew the global strike. It eliminates the Osama bin Laden, which hampered the leadership of terrorist organizations. So that drone strike is non-violent, is violent way, but in the judgmental world, critics have pointed out my ethics and morals. However, as commander in chief, it is my foremost duty to protect my people by establishing the corrective measures and oversight the communities. I assure that these operations take place under the commands of international law. The world should know that we are protectors, not attackers. And we were attacking the enemies who reside in remote areas where the traditional military invasion would be infeasible. Let it be known that drone strike is just a way of protecting the nation. It's not hampering the civilian life as much. At last, we all know that great powers comes with great responsibility, and we must uphold these standards to reflect our values. Thank you.
Viewers, am I audible, guys? Viewers, please proceed with your questioning. Yeah, please proceed with your questioning. Don't make them wait. Second year team, no one is asking or what is happening, guys?
Okay, so Mr. Barack Obama, do you believe that widespread use of drone strikes aligns with the principles of international law? How do you justify the conducting strikes in countries where the US is not officially at war?
See, legalities are complex, and I know that US are not involved, but but in a 9/11 terror attack, it is essential to come back with something strong to protect my people. And as a leader, I believe that protecting my people is my duty.
Again, the critics argue that the drone strikes fueled anti-American sentiments and contributed to radicalization among people. So, how do you respond to claims that the strikes created more terrorists than they eliminated? Did your administration assess the long-term impact of these strikes on global terrorism? Because drone strikes often operated under a veil of secrecy with minimal transparency and oversight. Shouldn't the American public have more access to information regarding these operations?
See, drone strike is just a way of protecting the people. Although there are many ways to protect, but these terrorists Like we, if we can't do anything, or we just uh, give speeches to just stop the violence and all, it is not a way to protect it. See, I know that this also increased bit terrorism, but by drone strike we can just just establish a wall between the that you can't harm Americans. Or I'm not
My
the
question
only
of
president who.
transparency. But my question of the transparency, the secrecy still remains unanswered, and about the anti-American sentiment and radicalization of the people still is unanswered. Anyways, moving on to the next question. Under your administration, the signature strikes allowed the targeting of individuals based on behavior patterns rather than, their confirmed identities. So, do you think this policy was ethical? And was this a reasonable approach given the high risk targeting of wrong people, the people who are, not actually committing any wrong?
See, terrorists reside in civilians, among civilians only. So we can't differentiate like who is terrorist or who is civilian. We just know the targeted point and we just strike that.
Any other juror may ask any question.
Not the jury, I'm a judge. I have some questions. Not some questions, or just one question. Very particular question. Barack
Sorry,
Obama.
you are not.
Uh, so are you able to hear me or not? Can you listen? Am I audible? No. Astika, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay.
Yes,
No, I
yes.
guess she's having. Yeah. So, Mr. Barack Obama, just on the first question, you used a very particular set of words that it is my responsibility to protect my people and I will protect my people. If we are differentiating humanity on the lines of my people and their people, don't you think that you have already planted the seed of hatred? And almost all the raging conflicts that are currently present in the world, America has had a very big role to play in all of those. Almost all of those. And don't it is according not in accordance with the UN convention that you are using these words, my people and their people. How do you differentiate and segregate between their people and my people? Being the leader of one of the most powerful, not one of the most, I guess you claim to be the most powerful country in the world. Do you not think that you should have used a better set of words? And I guess the words are just a more translated version of thought. So if you are thinking this way, I don't think that you deserve to be leader of such a great nation that you tout it to be. Please, if you can say a few words on this.
Sorry, sir, I don't have this processor.
Okay, cool, no issues. Guys, you can carry on. Jurors, please.
Mr. Obama, I want to ask one question. You put some sanctions or limitations on Iran's nuclear program by, removing some sanctions which were earlier put on the country. So you are limiting the nuclear facilities of a different country, and still you are focusing a lot on improving the defense of your country. Don't you feel this is a very selfish take?
Yeah, I don't have much knowledge on this.
Okay, no issues.
Students, are we done with the questions? Can we have the next candidates? Can- okay.
Yes,
Next
I
we
guess
have
should.
Next we have Advitya Srivastav, first BTech
Just a
Electronics
minute, just a minute.
Engineering.
Vishaka, the swastika is left.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
No problem. So before you move on to the next candidate, just make sure that you are thanking the participant for participating. You have to at least appreciate that. So please
Okay, sir.
get that in mind. Yeah.
Yes. We have our next candidate, Advait Srivastav, first BTech Electronics Engineering. Personality chosen is Rahul Gandhi and language preference is English. Advait, are you here?
He is, I can see it. You will be displayed.
Vishakha, actually, Advitiya chose Hindi as a language.
Yes, Advait's language is Hindi. I'm sorry for my mistake.
Guys,
Advait,
after
are
all,
you
he is
there?
Rahul
Can you turn
Gandhi.
on your
He
camera?
would show up on
Hello,
time.
hello, hello. Yes, ma'am. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Advait, you're audible and clearly visible. You may continue.
Good afternoon, respected ma'am, respected sir. Today I'm representing Rahul Gandhi. My name is Advitya, first BTech Electronics Engineering. So I'm studying. तो समंजस निर्णायक दल को मेरा सादर प्रणाम और अदालत कक्ष में मौजूद सभी भुक्तशुदाजनों को मेरा सादर नमस्कार। मैं राहुल गांधी आज इस तथ्य का बचाव करने आया हूँ कि हमारी राजनीति एक व्यक्ति का शो बन गया है। माननीय, जब मैं इस विषय के बारे में पढ़ता हूँ तो मेरी मानस पटल पर एक वाक्य 26 नवंबर 1949 डॉक्टर बी आर अम्बेडकर द्वारा कहा गया एक वाक्य मेरे आंखों के सामने आ जाता है कि जब किसी लोकतंत्र में किसी नेता को जब देश नायक बना देता है तब उस देश का पतन निश्चित हो जाता है। और मान्यवर, अभी भारत की वर्तमान लोकतांत्रिक प्रणाली को देखते हुए मैं ये स्पष्ट रूप से कह सकता हूँ कि हमारा देश भी किसी एक व्यक्ति का शो बन गया है। और मैं स्थिर रूप से अटक होकर ये कह सकता हूँ कि अगर ऐसे ही ये देश चलता रहा तो इस देश का भी पतन निश्चित है। मान्यवर, मैं आपसे यही कहना चाहूंगा विशेष रूप से जब किसी चुनाव को किसी व्यक्ति विशेष के चेहरे पर लड़ा जाता है, ना कि चुनावी नीतियों और चुनावी मुद्दों के अनुसार, जब वैसे लड़ा जाता है, जब हम उज्ज्वला योजना के तहत गरीबों को सिलेंडर देते हैं, जब महामारी के टाइम कोविड वैक्सीन की दवाइयां लगती हैं, जब हम अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में पेट्रोल पंप और तमाम ऐसे जगहों पे केवल किसी एक व्यक्ति विशेष का चेहरा देखते हैं, तब हम ये समझ पाते हैं कि हमारी जो सरकार है स्पष्ट रूप से मनोवैज्ञानिक तौर पर हमारे दिमाग में ये बैठाना चाह रही है कि जो ये देश है, किसी एक व्यक्ति द्वारा, किसी एक दल द्वारा नहीं, एक व्यक्ति द्वारा चलाया जा रहा है। और मान्यवर, मैं कभी खुले आसमान के नीचे बैठकर इस बात का विचरण करता हूँ कि अगर कभी, कभी दुर्भाग्यवश उस व्यक्ति का अस्तित्व खत्म हो गया, तो इस देश के अगले प्रधानमंत्री का पद का उम्मीदवार कौन होगा? आखिर में कौन होगा? मान्यवर, लोकसभा 2024 के चुनाव से मैं एक और उदाहरण लेना चाहूंगा कि आप सभी ये जानते होंगे कि लोकसभा में जो चुनाव होते हैं, तो उसमें लोग मत किसी प्रधानमंत्री पद के लिए नहीं देते हैं, अपने निर्वाचन क्षेत्र के सांसद के लिए देते हैं। लेकिन तब भी उदाहरण स्वरूप आप किसी कस्बे, किसी गांव, किसी शहर के पढ़े लिखे व्यक्ति से भी पूछेंगे कि आपने अपना मत किसको दिया, तो वो किसी सांसद या किसी पार्टी दल का नाम ना लेकर किसी व्यक्ति विशेष का नाम लेगा। वो बोलेगा कि मैंने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को वोट दिया। इससे ये स्पष्ट होता है कि हमारी भारत की जो राजनीति है किसी एक व्यक्ति के इर्द गिर्द घूमती रहती है। इसके विपरीत आप मेरे दल में देखेंगे कि मेरे दल में कई नेता उभर कर आते हैं। उनके विचार हमारे लिए मायने रखते हैं, उनके अपने-अपने विचार होते हैं। तो मान्यवर, मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देना चाहूँगा और आपसे ये प्रार्थना करना चाहूँगा कि मेरे इस विचार पर मद्देनज़र रखते हुए थोड़ी गहराई से सोचें और भारत की जो सुनीतियाँ हैं, जो नीतियाँ हैं, उसपे किसी एक व्यक्ति का नहीं, ये सुनिश्चित करें कि उसपे पूरी जनता का अधिकार हो। धन्यवाद।
ठीक है, सो माननीय राहुल गांधी जी, क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि जब आप भारतीय राजनीति को एक वन मैन शो कहते हैं,
जी,
आप उन नेताओं और कार्यकर्ताओं के योगदान को नजरअंदाज कर रहे हैं जो विभिन्न राजनीतिक दलों में काम कर रहे हैं। क्या यह बयान भारतीय राजनीति की जटिलताओं और विविधता को सरलीकृत करके प्रस्तुत किया गया है?
जी, जी, मैं ये बिल्कुल कहना चाहूँगा। जैसे अभी जो हमारी जो रूलिंग जनता दल है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी, उसमें आप देखेंगे कि जो भी मतलब अलग-अलग क्षेत्रों में जो भी काम किए जाते हैं, हाइलाइट केवल एक व्यक्ति विशेष को किया जाता है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को। किसी भी चीज़ में मतलब जैसे अगर हम कुछ भी चीज़ों को अगर दिखावा कुछ बढ़ावा देते हैं, तो उनमें उनका नाम सबसे पहले होता है। जैसे अभी मैं एक जल्दी की उसका वो करना चाहूँगा, जब राम मंदिर का वो हुआ था, निर्माण हुआ था, तब माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने मतलब एक कैंपेन फैलाया था। उसमें प्रभु श्री राम जी को उन्होंने एक बस छोटा-सा दर्शाया था। उन्होंने अपनी उँगली में प्रभु श्री राम को पकड़ते हुए लेके जा रहे थे। उससे ये दर्शाया जा रहा है कि सारी राजनीति उनके इर्द-गिर्द घूम रही है। सारा चीज़ उन्होंने करा है और मनोवैज्ञानिक रूप से वो इस समाज को पता नहीं किसी काल्पनिक चीज़ से बचाने आए हैं। वो कूटनीति वाला शासन कर रहे हैं कहीं न कहीं, और ये है कि जो जितने जितने दूसरे क्षेत्र के जितने छोटे-मोटे नेता हैं, जो सांसद हैं, उन लोगों की चीज़ों को नज़रअंदाज किया जा रहा है और उनकी बातों को नहीं सुना जाता है। संवाद का यहाँ पे कोई भी बात ही नहीं है, यहाँ संवाद नहीं होती है।
तो आप अक्सर भारतीय राजनीति को एक व्यक्ति के इर्द-गिर्द सिमटने का आरोप लगाते हैं। क्या
जी,
आपको नहीं लगता कि
बिल्कुल।
जब आपकी पार्टी कई दशकों तक एक ही परिवार के नेतृत्व में रही, तब यह आरोप कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भी लगाया जा सकता था? क्या आप इस बात पर सहमत हैं कि कांग्रेस के भीतर भी परिवारवाद और वंशवाद का असर रहा है? और अगर हाँ, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने इससे बाहर निकलने के लिए आपने कौन से मतलब ऐसे सुधारात्मक कदम उठा दिए हैं?
जी, देखिए देखिए, ये इस बात पे मैं थोड़ा बहुत सहमत रहूँगा कि कुछ वर्षों तक हमारे परिवार में भी ऐसा रहा है और कुछ लोग हमारे परिवार में भी ऐसे उभर कर आए हैं, जो लगातार केवल उनकी बातें सुनी जाती हैं। बाकी लोगों को थोड़ा बहुत अनदेखा किया जाता है। लेकिन ये मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, मैं आज के काल का नेता हूँ। मैंने इस चीज़ से निकलने के लिए बहुत सारे ऐसे कदम उठाए हैं, जिनको मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा। जैसे मैंने भारत जोड़ो यात्रा की। मैंने 4050 किलोमीटर तक की यात्रा पैदल कदमों पे की है, जिससे मैंने अलग-अलग देश के अलग-अलग लोगों को जोड़ा है, उनकी बातें सुनी है, उन पे काम किया है। और मेरे मेरे दल में अलग-अलग नेता अलग-अलग चीज़ों के लिए उभर कर आते हैं, वो अपने अलग-अलग नज़रिए रखते हैं, जिनको हम फिर मद्देनज़र रखते हुए उन पे काम करते हैं। जो पहले का था वो ऐसा अब नहीं रह गया है, वो चीज़ें नहीं रह गई। पहले के हिसाब से मैं बताऊँगा, पहले की वास्तविकता ये थी कि पहले उतना ज़्यादा मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि कॉम्पिटिशन भी नहीं था, राजनीतिक दलों में। आज की वास्तविकता मैं बता रहा हूँ, मैंने ऐसा बहुत काम किए हैं। भारत जोड़ो यात्रा उसका सबसे बड़ा एक उदाहरण है कि मैंने 4050 किलोमीटर हर दल के हर लोगों से बात करके सभी से उनके विचार सुने हैं, उनसे संवाद किया है।
अच्छा,
अ,
राहुल गांधी जी।
जी,
तो नहीं, प्लीज कृष्ण प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
राहुल जी,
एक
मेरा
मेरा
आपसे
मेरा
एक ही
अंतिम
प्रश्न है। यस
मेरा
यस
एक अंतिम प्रश्न मेरा एक ये है कि
जी।
क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि जनता ने एक बार-बार लोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया के तहत मतदान करके इस सरकार को चुना है? और मतलब अगर इस सरकार को एक वन मैन शो कहना कि आप जनता के पसंद और उसके फैसले को भी चुनौती दे रहे हैं। क्या आप ये मानते हैं कि लोकतंत्र में सत्ता का सही मापदंड जनता की इच्छा है? और अगर सरकार को बार-बार समर्थन मिलता है तो इसे वन मैन शो कहना क्या जनता की आवाज़ को कमज़ोर करना नहीं है?
जी, मैंने अपने अपने भाषण दिया था, उसमें मैंने एक चीज़ और कही थी कि मनोवैज्ञानिक तौर से हमें ये दिखाया जा रहा है कि जो हमारा देश है, किसी दल के द्वारा नहीं, किसी एक व्यक्ति विशेष के द्वारा चलाया जा रहा है। अगर आप 2014 से अभी तक का शासन देखेंगे, उसमें आप ये देखेंगे कि ये जो नीतियाँ बनाई गई हैं, चुनाव के टाइम कुछ ऐसी-ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं, जो जनता पे बहुत बड़ा प्रभाव लाता है। वो कूटनीति का शासन है। अब मैं अगर सही बताऊँ तो। जहाँ पे माइनॉरिटी है, वहाँ पे मेजॉरिटी के लिए बातें कही जाती हैं, जहाँ पे मेजॉरिटी है मतलब एक तरह के ये शासन है। इसी लोकसभा चुनाव के पहले इतना जल्दी मतलब कब से पेंडिंग था राम मंदिर का ये क्या बोलते हैं फैसला, लेकिन तुरंत इसके पहले ही आ गया। लेकिन अभी मिज़ोरम में, असम में फॉरेस्ट फायर चल रहे हैं, उस पे उन्होंने कुछ ध्यान नहीं दिया, वो राम मंदिर के टाइम ही किसानों ने एमएसपी माँगी, 2 चीज़ें माँगी, उनका कुछ नहीं, उन्हें आतंकवादी घोषित कर दिया गया। मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, जनता को बरगलाया जाता है, उन्हें बहकाया जाता है, धर्म का धंधा बना दिया गया है, उसके नाम पे जनता को डराया जाता है। जो राजनीतिक दल है भारतीय जनता पार्टी, उनके साथ कई मैं उनका नाम नहीं लेना चाहूँगा, कई लोग जुड़े हुए हैं, जो मासूम लोग को बरगलाते हैं, उनको भगवान के नाम पे डराते हैं, उनको धर्म के नाम से बरगलाया जाता है। इस हिसाब से मैं कहना चाहूँगा, कहीं न कहीं हमारे जो मासूम जनता है, जो केवल राम मंदिर और कुछ मतलब राम मंदिर एक बहुत अच्छी मतलब वो पहल थी, लेकिन मैं कहना चाहूँगा राम मंदिर और तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें जो कहीं न कहीं ज़रूरी थी, लेकिन उतना ज़्यादा इम्पैक्टफुल नहीं थी उस टाइम सोसाइटी में, इसलिए उस टाइम लोगों को मत देने पे मजबूर किया जाता है इन चीज़ों पे। उस समय उन लोग का दिमाग ही ऐसा हो जाता है कि वो मत देने पे मजबूर हो जाते हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे। ऐसे कुछ चीज़ें आ जाएँगी, मीडिया कुछ ऐसी चीज़ों को हाइलाइट करता रहेगा लगातार कि वो उस टाइम पे मत मतलब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए सुनिश्चित हो जाता है।
ये आपने जो मत की बात करी, राम मंदिर की बात करी, उसका तो हमने खैर नतीजा देख ही लिया है अयोध्या में। फिर मैं
जी।
बाकी जोर से कहना चाहूँगा कि अपना क्वेश्चन पूछें।
बातें कहूँगा और आपसे एक प्रश्न पूछूँगा। मेरी
जी।
पहली बात तो ये है कि आप किसले जी का आखिरी प्रश्न का जवाब शायद उतना अच्छे से नहीं दे पाए। दूसरी बात ये है कि आपने नॉर्थ ईस्ट की बात करी, लेकिन 1962 में नॉर्थ ईस्ट को आपने उसी के हाल पर छोड़ दिया था, जहाँ तक कि रेडियो ब्रॉडकास्टिंग तब की हमें बताती है। और मेरा आपसे प्रश्न गांधी जी यही होगा कि आप कह रहे हैं काफी देर से एक व्यक्ति के इर्द गिर्द पॉलिटिक्स घूमती है, कूटनीति की राजनीति होती है। मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, अगर वो एक व्यक्ति इस पूरे देश में लोकप्रिय है, पूरे विश्व में लोकप्रिय है, और अगर भारत की जनता उससे एक बेहतर रूप से कनेक्ट कर पा रही है, और आज की डेट में आपकी पार्टी में या आपके सहयोगी दलों में कोई भी ऐसा व्यक्ति नहीं है जो इस तरह उभर के आए, तो इसमें गलती उस एक व्यक्ति की है या फिर आपकी पार्टी की?
सर गलती इसमें ये नहीं है कि वो उभर कर आते हैं, गलती उसमें इनकी ये है कि जैसे वो जो राजनीति जो करते हैं, वो एक गलत पहल है। कोई भी उभर के आता है तो उनको दबाया जाता है कई अलग-अलग कारणों पर, कई अलग-अलग कार्यों द्वारा, उनको दबाया जाता है। और जबकि आपने कहा रिस्पेक्टेड मिस्टर किसले सर का मैं जवाब उतना अच्छे से नहीं दे पाया, मैं उसमें थोड़ा ज़्यादा बोल गया, मतलब मुझे जितना मालूम था मैं उससे थोड़ा ज़्यादा बोल गया, टू द पॉइंट नहीं बोल पाया। दूसरी बात सर आप 1962 की बात कर रहे हैं, 1962 में मैं बताऊँ कि मेरा पढ़ाई चल रही होगी, मेरा उतना ध्यान नहीं रहा होगा और मेरे माता-पिता और जो मेरे पूर्वज हैं, उन्होंने इस देश को सँभाला होगा। उसमें उस फ़ैसले में मेरा उतना बड़ा कोई हाथ नहीं रहा होगा। ना ही उन्होंने कुछ मेरी बात सुनी होगी अगर मैं कुछ कहने लायक हूँगा भी तो। तो मैं यही कहना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे अगर आप कह रहे हैं कोई उभर के आना चाहता है, तो उनको दबाया जाता है। अभी मैं बताऊँगा दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी, वो उभर कर आ रहे थे दिल्ली में काफ़ी अच्छे से। दिल्ली के लोग उनको बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद कर रहे थे। फिर क्या किया गया? उनको लिकर स्कैम में फँसा दिया गया। इससे क्या हुआ? उनकी पार्टी का नाम खराब हुआ। कौन आ रहा है? शशि थरूर जी आ रहे थे उभर के, उनके ऊपर भी कई कई आरोप लगाए गए। इससे क्या हुआ? कांग्रेस पार्टी का नाम खराब हुआ। इससे बताइए जो समाज पे जो इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा, उससे कैसे ही कोई डील करेगा? जब सारी राजनीति, सारे लेजिस्लेचर, सारा पुलिस सब इनके जेब में है, तो क्या ही करेगा आदमी?
र- राहुल जी। अच्छा
जी।
अच्छा, और अदर अदर जूनियर्स को कुछ बोलना हो तो करना, एंड कंटिन्यू।
ओके, तो राहुल जी, आपसे मेरा एक ही सवाल है। जैसा कि आपने कहा कि राजनीति आज के समय पर एक शख्स के चेहरे को देखकर एक शख्स के नाम पर हो रही है। तो मेरा एक सवाल ये है कि अगर आप ऐसा कहते हैं तो क्या आप कुछ ऐसा नहीं कह रहे हैं कि कार्यकर्ताओं की मेहनत पर सवाल उठाना?
जी, बिल्कुल सर कार्यकर्ताओं की मेहनत पर सवाल उठाया जा रहा है। अगर सर मैं ये कहूँ कि जैसे कोविड वैक्सीन, उस पे जब आपका सर पर्चा बनता है कि आपने वैक्सीन लगवा ली है, उसमें केवल माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की फोटो लगी रहेगी। पेट्रोल पंप पे आप जाएँगे, माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी की बहुत बड़ी फोटो लगेगी। आप जन औषधि केंद्र पे जाएँगे, उसपे माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी की बहुत। मैं कह रहा हूँ इसके विकल्प में आप ये भी तो कह सकते हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी या भारत सरकार। आपको अपनी चित्र लगाने की क्या ज़रूरत है? आप जब राम मंदिर का निर्माण कराया तो आपने एक एक वो पोस्टर बहुत फेमस कराया जिसमें आप शिशु राम जी का हाथ पकड़ के आप मंदिर तक ले जा रहे हैं। आप इतने बड़े हो गए कि आप राम जी का हाथ ले जाके रात हाथ पकड़ के मंदिर तक ले जा रहे हैं उनको। इसका नतीजा उन्होंने अयोध्या में देख लिया। अयोध्या में इससे बुरी हार, यूपी में इससे बुरी हार भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कभी आज तक नहीं देखी थी। आज तक नहीं दिखी थी। इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ऐसा करके वो बाकी कार्यकर्ताओं के जो कार्य हैं उनको नजरअंदाज करते हैं और ये होता है।
तो
राहुल जी,
जैसे
आपसे
आपने कहा,
मैं
तो हम ये माने कि आप कह रहे हैं कि जो पेट्रोल पंप वाली आपने बात करी, तो उसके लिए
जी।
तो योजना उन्होंने ही चलाई ना। जब उनकी योजना है तो उनकी पार्टी की तरफ से उनके लिए एक चेहरा है उनके पास। आपकी पार्टी की तरफ से अगर आप जीतते हैं, आप पोस्ट पे आते हैं, आपको पद मिलता है, तो आप अगर योजनाएं चलाएंगे तो क्या आपका चेहरा नहीं लगाएंगे, आप
सर
दूसरे कार्यकर्ताओं का?
सर एक मैं बताऊं, हमारी जब योजनाएं चलती हैं तो हमारा ये निशान रहता है। उनके पास
हम्म।
कमल है, कमल लगा है। हम अपना फोटो बहुत कम आपने देखा होगा, हमारा जब भी चित्र रहेगा हमारे साथ मेरी बहन का रहेगा या तो मेरी माँ का रहेगा, दूसरे
तो
कार्यकर्ताओं का भी रहता है। जी।
तो इसके लिए तो आप पर भी इल्जाम है ना कि आपके पास प्रधानमंत्री का चेहरा नहीं है।
जी।
इसके लिए तो आप पर भी ये इल्जाम है कि आपके पास प्रधानमंत्री का चेहरा नहीं है, इसलिए आप सभी लोग फोटो में आते
नहीं, बिल्कुल हम इसकी कोशिश कर रहे हैं, प्रधानमंत्री बनने की कई सालों से कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन असफल रहे हैं। अब जल्दी प्रधानमंत्री बन जाएंगे तब भी हमारा चेहरा ये रहेगा, हम प्रधानमंत्री चाहे ना बने, बने चाहे ना बने, हमारा चेहरा हमारा चुनाव चिन्ह ही
हैं।
रहेगा।
राहुल जी,
तो
शायद
मतलब फिर
2012 में एक
प्रधानमंत्री।
ऐड आया था।
जी।
आयुष आयुष
राहुल जी,
एक ही क्वेश्चन आपका।
2012 में एक ऐड आया था, भारत के इस निर्माण पे हक है मेरा करके एक ऐड आया था, कांग्रेस का था। उसमें मनमोहन सिंह की फोटो थी और अ, सोनिया गांधी की फोटो थी और बैकग्राउंड में म्यूजिक था, भारत के इस निर्माण पे हक है मेरा। अब इसको नहीं कहेंगे कि ये एक वन मैन शो स्टंट था?
जी। अब ऑडिबल नहीं, थोड़ा एक बार फिर से दोबारा दोहरा सकते हैं?
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि 2012 में आपका एक कमर्शियल आया था टीवी पे,
हम्म।
उसमें बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक था, भारत के इस निर्माण पे हक है मेरा, और आगे फोटो लगी हुई थी सोनिया जी की और मनमोहन जी की। तो आप इस चीज को कैसे जस्टिफाई करें कि वन मैन शो स्टंट नहीं था?
जी, राहुल गांधी के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव के द्वारा मैंने ये ऐड देखा नहीं है, अगर मैं आपको सही बताऊं तो। और मैं अगर ये ऐड देखता तो मैं बिल्कुल उसमें कोई खामियां होती और कुछ में कुछ सही होता तो मैं आपको जरूर बताता। मुझे उसकी बहुत ज्यादा जानकारी नहीं है, जो 2012 के प्रदर्शन के बारे में आप बता रहे हैं, ऐड के बारे में बता रहे हैं, उसके बारे में मुझे बहुत ज्यादा जानकारी नहीं है।
और आपने आपने अभी एमएसपी की बात करी थी,
जी।
तो आप 2004 से तो एक्टिव है पॉलिटिक्स में, ठीक है? 2002 या
हम्म।
2003 से, तो
जी।
आपकी 10
दो
साल
हजार
सरकार भी रही।
जी। जी।
आपकी
जी।
10
जी।
साल सरकार रही, आप सांसद भी रहे, तो आपने क्यों नहीं स्वामीनाथन आयोग की रिपोर्ट जारी करी?
सर फिर से दोबारा, कौन सा आयोग सर?
स्वामीनाथन आयोग की रिपोर्ट आपने क्यों नहीं जारी करी?
सर दरअसल इसके बारे में मुझे बहुत जानकारी नहीं है, जानकारी रहेगी तो मैं बिल्कुल आपके पास दोबारा आऊंगा।
ओके।
जी।
ठीक है गाइस, इनफ क्वेश्चन आई गेस। बहुत स्ट्रेच हो जाएगा तो राहुल गांधी देखती है तो फेल करते
सेकेंड ईयर
हैं।
डन विथ योर ऑल द क्वेश्चंस। लोग स्टार्ट करें।
एक सुमित, एक सेकंड में जरा, एक मैं मतलब सवाल नहीं पूछना, मुझे एक दो बातें हैं। नहीं, नहीं। अ, थोड़ा सा अद्वितीय मैं पॉइंट आउट अभी कर देता हूँ
जी सर।
कि इम्पैक्ट डील, ठीक है, ये सब इंग्लिश वर्ड्स तुमने बीच में यूज किए। दूसरा, एक जो तुमने बोला कि पहली बात तो मैं एक चलो सवाल पूछ भी लेता हूँ, एक सवाल पूछ भी। राहुल जी पहले तो बताइए मौसम है कैसा इटली में?
क्रेजी, क्रेजी भाई, क्रेजी।
सुमित माइक। हाँ कोई बात नहीं, चलिए कोई नहीं। आपको जानकारी है नहीं जो पीछे हुआ, पुरानी जानकारी आप शायद रखते नहीं है, तथ्य आपके गलत है, और ना आप रुचि लगते अगर कोई आपको जानकारी दे तो। तीसरी बात, एक मैं आपसे पूछूंगा, बीजेपी भारतीय जनता पार्टी मोदी जी, बीजेपी भारतीय जनता पार्टी मोदी जी, आप वन मैन शो के खिलाफ बात कर रहे हैं या बीजेपी मोदी जी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ बात कर रहे हैं? आप बताइए, इतनी सारी सरकारें सत्ता में रही, हाँ बहुत साल तक तो कांग्रेस का जमा पड़ा रहा, वो मानते हैं, वो बहुत देर में दीमक हमने छुड़ा के हटा दी। और आप एक बात ये बताइए कि इतनी देर से आपने तीन चार नाम गिनाए और उन्हीं के इर्द गिर्द आप घूमते रहे। आपने बोला मोदी जी, ठीक है मान लिया, मोदी जी के बाद राम मंदिर, चलिए मान लिया, मोदी जी के बाद आप आई फिर से भारतीय जनता पार्टी, आपको मान लिया, चलिए रूलिंग पार्टी एक बार को वो भी दे देते हैं। परंतु भारत का इतिहास तो, अगर इतिहास अगर 1947 से लेंगे तो उसके बाद तो कई लोग आए हैं। और अगर आप एक नाम गिना सकें जहाँ पे वन मैन शो हुआ सिवाय भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अलावा और कांग्रेस पार्टी के अलावा, कृपया आप मुझे बताने का कष्ट करें।
मैं वन मैन शो खाली माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को बोलना चाहूंगा, भारतीय जनता पार्टी इससे और बेहतर हो सकती है। ये तो देखा जा रहा है कि और इससे बेहतर हो सकती है अगर वो अपनी राजनीति और अपनी कूटनीतियां ना करें। समाज में उनका प्रभाव अच्छा भी है, ऐसी बात नहीं है, लेकिन जो प्रभाव मनोवैज्ञानिक तौर से वो डाल रहे हैं वो चीज इस समाज में गलत है। और मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा, अद्वितीय के तौर पर, मैं अपने प्रिपरेशन के टाइम पे बहुत ज्यादा राजनीतिक विषयों से बहुत ज्यादा कनेक्शन में नहीं रहा हूँ। और पहले भी मैंने बहुत ज्यादा पॉलिटिक्स, इंडियन हिस्ट्री की बहुत ज्यादा नहीं पढ़ रखी है, तो इसमें मैं आपको बहुत अच्छे से जवाब नहीं दे पाऊंगा। वो जब मैं
जी,
पढ़ लूंगा तब आपको अच्छे जवाब देने में सक्षम रहूंगा।
चलिए मैं राहुल गांधी से पहले बात कर लेता हूँ।
जी।
अगर मैं आपको बता देता हूँ कि अगर आपको पता ना हो तो वन मैन शो कहाँ से रहा है। चलिए एक बात तो है कि वन मैन शो रहा है, वन फैमिली शो नहीं रहा, वो बढ़िया बात है। पर वन मैन शो मैं गिना सकता हूँ इंदिरा गांधी के टाइम पे, सॉरी वन वुमेन शो राजीव गांधी के टाइम पे भी रहा, जवाहरलाल नेहरू के टाइम पे भी रहा, और शायद 1999 के बाद भी होने वाला था, पर पता नहीं कुछ ऐसा हुआ जो शायद नहीं हो पाया। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप जल्द से जल्द कुछ अच्छा करें जीवन में, और प्रधानमंत्री अगर आपको बनने का सौभाग्य मिले तो हम भी देखना
जी।
चाहते हैं कि आप किस तरीके से देश को
चलिए,
आगे
आपकी
लेके जाते
आपकी बातें मैं अच्छी
और
तरीके से स्वीकार
राहुल जी,
करता हूँ।
आप
बहुत-बहुत
हैं।
धन्यवाद।
इस
एक
जी,
चीज़ को
मिनट,
कैसे
धन्यवाद।
जस्टिफ़ाई करेंगे?
जी।
राहुल जी, आप इस चीज़ को कैसे जस्टिफ़ाई करेंगे कि जो भारत जोड़ो यात्रा थी,
हुँ।
वो एक पॉपुलिस्ट स्टंट नहीं था? इस चीज़ को कैसे जस्टिफ़ाई करेंगे? बिकॉज़
सर सर पॉपुलर स्टंट अगर होता तो मैं लोगों की बात नहीं सुनता, लोगों के संवाद नहीं सुनता। पॉपुलर स्टंट होता तो मैं भारत जोड़ो यात्रा कहीं न कहीं 1 महीने में भी खत्म कर सकता था। लेकिन इसका अंतराल कम से कम 180 दिनों का रहा है। कौन नेता इतना बड़े अंतराल पे पॉपुलर स्टंट करेगा? और ना ही मैं अपनी मतलब वो करता कि मतलब दर्शाता अपनी चीज़ों को, लगातार ट्रांसपेरेंसी इतनी रखता, सबके
लेकिन
सामने
भारत
रखता।
टूटा कब? भारत टूटा कब जो आपने जोड़ने का ठेका ले लिया?
सर
बात तो ये है।
आप सतह सतह तक जाएँगे तो आपको दिखाई देगा। समाजों में उतरेंगे, ग्राउंड लेवल पे उतरेंगे तो आपको दिखाई देगा। भारत किन-किन जगहों
राहुल
पे
जी,
कैसे-कैसे
आपको
टूटा है।
इतिहास
आज
पता नहीं है। राहुल जी,
ऑफ
आपको
टॉपिक हो
इतिहास
रहा
की समझ नहीं है। आपको पहले पता नहीं कांग्रेस पार्टी ने क्या किया और आप हमसे बोल रहे हैं कि सत्ता पे जाएँ।
जी?
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आपको जब पुरानी चीज़ें गिनवाई जाती है तो आप बोलते हैं कि उनके बारे में पता नहीं है और आप अभी हमसे बोल रहे हैं कि सतह पे जाइए आप,
तो
तो आपको दिखेगा।
अभी के
मुझे तो नहीं
अभी
दिखता
के लिए
सतह पे।
अभी के लिए इन बातों में मैं अच्छे रूप से आपकी बातों को स्वीकार करता हूँ और मैं इन बातों पे आगे जाके काम करूँगा। अभी के लिए मैं चुप्पी साधना चाहूँगा।
चलो तो गाइस बहुत हो गया यार, एक ही कैंडिडेट नहीं ना।
जी।
सुमित को कुछ पूछा था, सुमित पूछेगा देन वी मूव। सुमित सर।
तो राहुल जी, सर्वप्रथम मेरा यही सवाल है आपसे कि आपने अभी बोला कि जब मैं छोटा था, जब 1962 के समय पे, तो आपको अपनी जन्म तिथि ही नहीं पता, आपकी जन्म तो 1970 में हुआ है।
जी, अब मैं ये भी बताऊँगा, ये भी मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि एज़ अद्वितीय
जी।
मुझे उतनी ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं है,
और
किसी
एक
भी
और
मामले में।
प्रश्न, मैं अभी मेरा आखिरी प्रश्न है। आपने बोला
जी,
भारत जोड़ो आंदोलन में, आपने बोला, अभी बोल रहे थे कि सारा जो भी होता है, मतलब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के रूप से जितने प्रचार होते हैं कार्यक्रम, सब में नरेंद्र मोदी जी का ही नाम होता है। तो भारत जोड़ो आंदोलन के अंदर मुझे तो नहीं पता कांग्रेस पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष थे या महासचिव थे, बट उसमें ये जरूर दिख रहा था कि भारत जोड़ो आंदोलन जो चल रहा था, आपका यात्रा चल रही थी, उसमें राहुल गांधी जी थे। पूरी यात्रा के अंदर हर जगह राहुल गांधी जी दिख रहे हैं, इंस्टाग्राम पे, हर जगह सोशल मीडिया पे प्रचारों में राहुल गांधी जी ही दिख रहे हैं। तो आपने जो पॉइंट रखा था कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी अपना प्रचार कराते हैं, तो उसके लिए तो आप ऑलरेडी अपने आप को देखिए पहले।
देखिए
अगर
जो
आप
मैं पॉइंट बता
दूसरों
रहा
पे
हूँ
एलिगेशन लगा रहे हैं, जी बताइए, आप अपने विचार
न,
रखिए इस पे,
न,
आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी अपना प्रचार कराते हैं, लेकिन वो ये भी करते हैं कि अपने दूसरे कार्यकर्ताओं के जो किए गए कार्य हैं, उनको मद्देनजर नहीं रखते हैं, उनको नजरअंदाज करते हैं। जबकि
अच्छा।
हमारे दल में ऐसा नहीं होता है। आप अगर भारत जोड़ो यात्रा, अगर मेरे उस पे इंस्टाग्राम पे भारत जोड़ो यात्रा की 3-4 वीडियोज़ आती हैं, तो एक वीडियो जो हमारे जो कार्यकर्ता जो हमारे कार्यालय में काम करते हैं, उन पे भी आती है। ऐसा नहीं है
जी।
कि हम पूरे संपूर्ण रूप से खाली राहुल गांधी का प्रचार हो रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है। लेकिन विपरीत तौर पे अगर आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी में देखेंगे, तो प्रचार केवल एक व्यक्ति विशेष का ही होता है।
नहीं, मैं, आपने बोला कार्यकर्ताओं की पार्टी, और मतलब वीडियोस आती हैं जो कार्य कर रहे हैं। मेरे हिसाब से तो मुझे ये भी नहीं पता, क्या आज के टाइम पे ये भी नहीं पता कि राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष कौन है आपकी पार्टी का, महासचिव कौन है आपकी पार्टी का, है ना? तो वो वाली चीजें आप उस पे अराउंड आप बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है।
वीडियो की बात भी सुमित सर से करना देते हो।
चलिए, किसी और को कोई
चलिए,
क्वेश्चन रखना हो अपना, निहार या फिर।
बहुत-बहुत
तो
धन्यवाद।
जी मेरा आपसे बस एक आखिरी प्रश्न है। वो प्रश्न ये है कि आप वन मैन पॉलिटिक्स की बात कर रहे हैं, पर मुझे ये नहीं समझ में आता कि जब मनमोहन सिंह प्रधानमंत्री थे, तो जब वो किसी देश के प्रधानमंत्री या राष्ट्रपति से मिलने आते थे, तो सोनिया गांधी उनके साथ क्यों जाती थी?
जी सर, सर लास्ट लाइन क्या?
आप मुझे ये बताइए, जब
मिसेस सोनिया
प्रधानमंत्री
माइनर क्यों साथ
मनमोहन
में
सिंह थे,
जाती
तो सोनिया गांधी क्यों मनमोहन सिंह जी के साथ जाती थी बाकी देशों में बातचीत करने?
सर ये बात मैं फिर से दोहराऊँगा, जैसे कि मैं जो चीज़ कह रहा हूँ, वो मेरा एक तरह से प्रॉम्प्ट अटेम्प्ट है इस स्पीच को देने का। इस पे मैंने बहुत घनिष्ठ मतलब जो क्या कहा था रिसर्च नहीं कर रखी है, बाकी सारी
ये
चीज़ों
ठीक है
पे।
अद्वितीय, अद्वितीय कोई बात नहीं, समझ गया।
जी सर,
तो
जी सर।
हाँ, वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। देखो हम तो उम्मीद कर रहे थे कि कुछ और बेहतर होगा, और देखो अगर कुछ भी समझ में आया ना तो
जी
बोल
सर,
दिया करो जो बेहतर से बेहतर तुम समझ पा रहे हो, क्योंकि इतने सारे
जी।
फैक्ट्स हैं, इतनी सारी रिसर्च करनी होती है, तो सब कुछ तो
हुँ,
तुम एक दिन में नहीं कवर कर सकते ना।
यस, यस
तो
सर।
ठीक है,
जी,
वो दिक्कत नहीं है उसमें। और एक बात
जी
है ना,
सर,
तुमने कैरेक्टर ऐसा चुना है ना
जी
कि
सर,
प्रॉब्ली द मोस्ट कॉमिकल कैरेक्टर ऑफ ऑल टाइम इन इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स हिस्ट्री। तो
जी
उस
सर।
चीज के चक्कर में ज्यादा लोग क्वेश्चन भी करते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, वेरी गुड।
नहीं सर,
ठीक है।
जी सर। सर नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं और कोई अच्छा कैरेक्टर चूज़ करूँगा आप लोग से विचार
एक
विमर्श
फ्लॉ,
करके।
एक, नहीं नहीं,
जी सर,
कैरेक्टर खराब नहीं था, एक फ्लॉ था ना जो मुझे दिखा ना, कि
जी सर,
राहुल गांधी हैज दिस वेरी innate ability in him to take long pauses while speaking. Although almost all great orators have this quality, but he first of all isn't a very great good orator. But
जी सर,
whenever he is delivering a speech, तुम देखना
जी
जो
सर।
मीम्स भी हैं उसमें भी
हुँ,
वो
हुँ।
बहुत रुक रुक के बोलता है ना। जैसे एक
अच्छा,
बोलता
अच्छा।
है कि मैंने मार दिया उसको, नहीं है वो,
हाँ,
मेरे दिमाग में नहीं है वो राहुल गांधी, वो चला गया। तो तुम बहुत स्पीड में बोल रहे थे, तो लगा ही नहीं एक सेकंड को भी कि राहुल गांधी से बात हो रही है। ऐसा लगा कि
अच्छा।
वो या तो कांग्रेस का कार्यकर्ता है, प्रवक्ता है। राहुल गांधी
जी,
के लिए
जी।
राहुल गांधी आने चाहिए ना स्टेज पे। तो राहुल
सही कह रहे
गांधी
हैं।
की एक चीज है ना कि अनरिलेंटिंग है, वो तुम कितना
जी,
ही कॉर्नर करो, अनरिलेंटिंग है। तो
जी सर,
वो जो बीच बीच में तुम ब्रेक करके कह रहे थे ना कि नहीं सर वो मैं रिसर्च नहीं कर पाया, उससे
जी
थीम
सर।
थोड़ा फ्लो बिगड़ जाता है, तो कोई नहीं।
अच्छा, 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 अच्छा।
वेरी
ओके
गुड।
सर। ओके, थैंक यू सो मच सर। थैंक यू सो मच रिस्पेक्टेड मैथ्स रिस्पेक्टेड सर। आई टेक अ लीव नाउ।
थैंक यू। अच्छा
Thank
एक
you,
चीज
Advitya. It was a very
स्टूडेंट्स को क्लियर कर देता हूँ, एक क्वेश्चन तक रखो यार, क्योंकि बाकी लोग बहुत time लग जाएगा ना इसमें, बड़ी एक्टिविटी है। एकदम पिन पॉइंट करके रिफाइन करके एक क्वेश्चन पूछो, उसमें जितना पेनिट्रेट करना है उतना करना, ठीक?
okay. So we have our next contestant, Priyesh Yadav, first BTech Chemical Engineering. Personality chosen is Lady Macbeth and language preference is English. Priyesh, can we have you here? Priyesh, are you here?
नहीं है तो आगे बढ़ो, सर ज्यादा टाइम नहीं।
Yes, sir. Next, we have Priyanka Yadav, first BTech Civil Engineering. Personality chooses is Pandora. Language preference English. Priyanka, yes, start.
Good afternoon, respected ma'ams and respected sirs. Priyanka Yadav, First BTech Civil Engineering. I am Pandora, the wife of Epimetheus. I am often portrayed as the harbinger of evil and misery, accused of disobeying Lord Zeus by opening a fateful box full of evil and misery, which was a gift by the gods themselves. My story is a bit more complex, woven with the threads of beauty and a bit of curiosity. I was crafted by Hephaestus, the gods of craftsmen, gifted beauty by the goddess Aphrodite, and curiosity by goddess Hera. Two qualities that, while powerful, can also lead to unintended consequences. Zeus, in his wisdom, endowed me with a box full of all the world's evil, knowing full well that my curiosity would eventually get the best of me. I was simply a vessel for the gods to punish my husband and mankind, the way they punished my brother in law Prometheus by hanging him on a mountain. When I opened the box, I did not set out to unleash suffering upon humanity. Instead, I acted on my innate curiosity, a trait that is fundamental to all. Isn't it our curiosity that drives discovery, innovation, and progress? My actions mirror the struggles we all face, the balance between curiosity and consequence. We've all made choices that led to unforeseen results, but it is in our nature to explore the unknown. I ignited a transformative process. Yes, suffering and misery were released, but these are integral parts of life that foster empathy, strength, and ultimately understanding. Not only suffering and misery released from the box, but so did hope. In the midst of despair, hope is our only beacon that guides us through our darkest times. My choice, therefore, was not just a failure, it was the catalyst for resilience and growth. It teaches us that even in the face of our overwhelming adversity, hope remains. It encourages us to confront our struggles, to rise above them, and to find strength in vulnerability. So, I plead by the scales of Themis that I am not guilty, but a pawn played by the gods. Thank you.
Okay, so Pandora, can I ask one question? And my question is, don't you feel that your actions were a result of some stupidity? And I will not say curiosity. How will you justify this? If God is saying you not to open something, why are you still opening it and justifying it because of your curiosity? Don't you feel it was your mistake?
As I said, that I was gifted various gifts by all the Olympian gods, in which Zeus gifted me ideal and mischievous nature. And when I was parting, when I was going with my husband Epimetheus, when they handed me the box, they told me not to open it, which obviously drove my curiosity. I did resisted it for quite a lot of time, but as I said, my curiosity got the best of me, and the box was opened.
Pandora, you just explained the situation. You knew you were played by the gods. You knew it after you did the mistake. So, if right now you were to relive that moment, what would be your approach? Because you know you can't control your curiosity. You were gifted that thing that your curiosity will take the best of you. And the gods did that purposely. They wanted to punish the humanity through you. It was a thing done purposely, right? So if you were given another chance, the same flow of events, then what will you do this time? Will you be able to resist? And how will you justify yourself? You know all the events that happen after that. What will be your approach?
I think I will open the box because even though the evil spirits that were released, one thing that one thing that is present in all of us that comes after certain events are done is hope. Hope is something, if the box was not opened, it must have not been released, and most of the humanity might have perished if hope was not there.
According to you, hope saved humanity. According to you, hope saved humanity, right? But apart from hope, there were many other emotions, many other things that escaped the box as well. And those were the reason that actually, they were reasons for misery and all. So if hope was there, there was misery as well. So don't you think it was better before the box was opened? You are just saying that yeah, it's all right because hope was also released and all that. But don't you think that things were better before, without hope, without misery, without any of these things?
So it was just like people were living life, a predetermined life that they had no control over, that they can do things. It was just like predefined. Like someone wrote it and they're just following it.
I don't think that justifies this question. But all right. Any other judos?
Okay, so Miss Pandora, I'm a fellow human being from Earth, so I'm a pretty naughty creature. You wouldn't relate because you obviously deal with the gods much more than you deal with humans. So my first question being, do you consider yourself a normal human being or a mortal creature? Or do you consider yourself above them?
I consider myself as a human because, as history says, Pandora was the first woman, like she was a human.
Well, he didn't exist before you. Anyways, so cleverly enough or conveniently enough or for whatever reasons, you opened the jar due to reasons of curiosity according to your own words. And then you let all the bad things, quote unquote bad things, escape out of the jar And as soon as hope was about to escape, you left it in and you closed the jar. Why didn't you let it out? Why didn't you let the world have hope as well? Why did you make it such a
Because
secretive thing?
when No, because when the spirits released, I was afraid that I was resenting the actions I did. So I closed the box, and when I opened in and peeked inside, I found hope there, which asked for permission, and then I let hope escape into the world.
You're admitting that you have all the flaws that us humans have. Likely you said that you are also a human being. So, you had fears, you had curiosity, you were afraid, you were threatened by this act. But still, you thought that, I should disobey Zeus and I should act on my instinct of curiosity and I should open that jar. Had you been a bit more wise as us human beings are, although I don't think that you consider yourself as one, but still, if you were as wise as we are, so much so that we, at least know how to obey to our elders and we obey them and blindly so, faithfully so. If you knew that you are a person who has fear, who has anger, who has all the biological flaws that us human beings have, do you not think that you could have also acted on better judgment and simply shut your curiosity up?
You know, whenever when a parent cannot complain the way they raise their child, a child blindly follows what the parent says. Like um, a household's environment affect the growth of a child. It was similar for me. Like how, yeah, it was like, well, so I'm really sorry, I don't have an
No
accurate
issues.
answer for that.
No problem. It's all right. Anyways, in our world, they have a saying that curiosity killed the cat. But I guess in your case, you just killed the whole world. So, anyways, I am done with my questions. The juniors may please continue with the questioning. Thank you. No one has any questions?
Jury, are we done with the questions? Shall we next move to the next
Acha,
participant?
before you move on, Vishaka, before you move on, just one or two criticisms for Priyanka.
Yes, sir.
So with Pandora, Priyanka, obviously no one knows how gods act or they enact, how to embody gods because none of us are actually gods. But you could have went into the theatrical plays of Greek mythology that take place in the London School of Dramatics and all the places.
Yes, sir.
So you could have checked those out. And also with Pandora, the central argument again is curiosity, but again that is also the whole crux of the issue. But if she knew that is not to open that jar, and still she is opening that jar, then she could have self-questioned her into this cycle of introspection. Introspection. That why am I going to take such a drastic step when this is the exact thing I am being asked not to do. So you should have the first thing with Pandora, I guess, would have been that if only she could have defended her human nature. That I am bound to make mistakes and all the ploy about the gods and the conspiracy and all the plot to punish human beings and all those things come secondary, at least according to me. So no issues. But well done. And thank you. I guess it's okay.
Thank you,
Vishaka,
sir.
please carry on.
Thank you, Priyanka.
By the way, Nishant sir has just entered
Next, we
the
have
circle. So good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, carry on, carry on.
Yes, sir. We have our next participant, Rachit Srivastav, first BTech Electronics Engineering, personality chosen at Shylock, language preference English.
Good afternoon, respected ma'ams and respected sir. Respected ma'am, Rajesh Srivastava, first BTech Electronics Engineering. Ma'am, am I audible and visible properly?
To me, you're not visible.
You aren't
Anyone can attest. Yeah.
Visible, but you are audible.
I've
Just
opened
check
my
out your
camera.
network connection, Rachit.
Okay, ma'am.
Instead of waiting, Vishaka, please carry on. Okay, yes, I told you.
Ma'am, am I visible
Okay.
now?
We have a no,
Please,
Rashid, you are still not visible. I say you just take some time and see your check out your network. Okay, till that we are going to continue with our next candidate. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Next we have RF Kumar, first BTech Information Technology. Personality chosen is Dr. S. Shankar and language preference is English.
Good afternoon, respected ma'ams, respected sirs. Arav Kumar, first BTech Information Technology. Before crushing the allegations, I, Ajay Shankar, the Minister of External Affairs of India, would like to remind everyone certain things. That we are not China, we are India. Our policy is not neighbor acquisition but mutual cooperation. Second, that that neighborhood first is the core policy of Indian foreign policy. Now let's deal with the case of our neighbors. Let's come to Pakistan. We have been in sour relations with Pakistan since independence, but India has always tried to establish a relation of peace and mutual coexistence. But every initiative has been backstabbed by cross-border firing and terrorism. How can we have a good relation if that nation does not even want at very first place? Coming to the case of China, yes, I admit that China currently occupies territorial part of India, and China is involved in various projects that proves its expansionist policy. But this is where diplomacy comes into role. As we all know, that China is one of the major trade partners of India. India and China are currently involved in various economic ventures and business deals. How how do you see this? Let me remind you that diplomacy and diplomatic relations are not only limited to border tensions or border situation. If one aspect is not at decent level, it does not mean that our relation is not good as a whole. Coming to the case of our interesting neighbor, maritime neighbor, Maldives. Yes, I admit that power shift in Maldives was not seen favorable to India. A statement passed by President Muizu and his ministers had caused unnecessary strains in ties. But same President Muizu visited India from 6th October to 10th October in order to mend ties with India. Is this a diplomatic failure? No. Before resting my case, I would like to clear some misconceptions regarding diplomacy. First, personal opinions of politicians and people do not govern diplomacy. Second, there are neither permanent enemies nor permanent friends, just permanent interests. And role of diplomacy is to fulfill those interests. Third is a harsh truth that we have to accept. That the relations that European countries share with each other, a relation of diplomacy that US and Canada have with each other, sadly cannot be developed in South Asian countries. And as is the case of Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar, there are no major strains in relations. With this, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
Mr. Jayashankar, you were continuously reminding me the definition of diplomacy. Can I ask you a few questions, please? My first question
Yes.
is, what was the postulates of your diplomacy doing when China was continuously intimidating Sri Lanka's ports? When China was continuously putting forces on Sri Lanka's ports, why is China surrounding India and what is India doing towards it? Can you please clarify that?
Yes, of course. As you have mentioned that China is in business deal with Sri Lanka. Let me also tell you that we are also in joint ventures with Sri Lanka, as we have made deal with one of Sri Lanka ports and in various petroleum regions. As is the case of its ring of pearls, yes, we are actively tackling that.
Mr. Jayashankar, China is continuously improving and increasing their influence on the South China Sea, and I cannot see any actions from India's side. What is your stand on the same?
As I have mentioned that we are not China, we are India. As you very well know, China's policy, it traps the country. It traps the country in a economic debt. We do not do that. Yes, we have a policy that we do not interfere in a different countries in a nation's internal matters because we respect that country, and that is why we have a relation with that.
Can be very risky in future.
Yes, the as I have mentioned that China is involved in various projects that proves China's expansionist policy, and it does not develop in a risky situation. That's where the role of diplomacy lies.
Mr. Jaishankar, don't you think the success of China's string of pearls policy is the biggest evidence of India's failure in foreign policy?
No, I would not say that because we believe in mutual cooperation, not oppressing our neighbors. China's policy is an aggressive one. Our policy is of mutual cooperation. As I have to take the case of Maldives, that we have gifted Maldives Dornier aircraft, and our troops were there to protect Maldives. But when Maldives said that we do not want Indian troops, we respect that decision because we do not we believe in mutual cooperation and and we respect our relation with our neighbors. So when Maldives gave arguments and raised its concern regarding our troops in its nation, we accepted that and we withdrew our troops. This is the difference between us and China.
Why are you continuously comparing yourself with China? Like you are blaming your
Because
neighbors, you are blaming your neighbors for the bad relation you have with them. What are the measures that you have undertaken to improve those relations?
Let me take the case of Maldives only. As I've mentioned in my speech, that President Muizu visited India from 6th October to 10th October in order to mend ties and strengthen its relation with India. It is a Actually, the world media has actually not covered it, but it is a fact that we have aided Maldives, and Maldives is also continuously trying to mend relations with us. The relations are improving, and as is the part of question that why I'm comparing India with China, comparison will be done. Yes, because India and China were almost at same level around 1947 and 1950s. But China developed as a different nation, and India developed as a different nation. Both of the nation had same condition but different political situation. So yes, comparison will be done.
Okay. So, Arav, I have the question that do you agree that India is more focused towards the big powers rather than its neighbors?
No, I would not say that. We are extensively involved in trade relations with Bangladesh and Myanmar as we have to improve the situation of chicken neck. And as I have said that there are no permanent enemies, not permanent friends, just permanent interests. So I have to see where the interest of a nation lies, and I have to fulfill that, and I have to fulfill those nations.
Okay, talking about Myanmar and that, what opinions you will give on Pakistan?
As I have said that India has always tried to maintain and always had to strive to maintain and establish a good relation with Pakistan, but that nation does not even want that at very first place. Every initiative has been backstabbed by cross-border firing and terrorism. Yes, we want a good relation, but not at the cost of sovereignty and integrity of India.
Okay,
Okay, and
and the
where does India, Mr. Jaishankar, where does India stands on Burmese civil war, the ongoing civil war in Myanmar?
Yes, as you know, that in UN and that in United Nations, we have abstained to give any decision because that Burmese civil war is of internal matter of that nation. And however, we have the first priority is our interest. Which either of the government established, we have to prioritize India's interest.
So don't you think because of this civil war and the Chinese intervention in this civil war, the sphere of influence of China will further increase, thereby creating a disbalance in Southeast Asian countries, and thereby
Yes,
again,
I am very well
uh, yes,
Yes, I am very well aware of that, which is why one of the foreign policy is foreign economic aid. If we feel that at any point of time Myanmar needs any humanitarian aid, any political aid or any financial aid, we are ready for it.
Don't you think policies and uh, decisions like Citizenship Amendment Act and then Article 370 has led to deterioration of relation with neighbors?
Before
No,
answering,
actually,
just a
yes, sir.
second. Sorry to interject. Sorry to interject. Raj, please keep it to one or two questions. So,
Okay, okay, yes.
or else it will take very long to resolve. Arif, please continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir. Sir, first, let me address the issue of Article 370. It was only Pakistan that had problem with Article 370, and it was Pakistan that chose to cut ties with India completely. And sir, can you repeat the second part of the question?
I said CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act.
Yes. I would like to address that India is the only country that is capable to support the minorities of the surrounding nations. If India will refuse them, then where actually they will go? As you are very well aware of the condition of minorities in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, Bangladesh. So we have to support them because we are the only hope for them.
Okay, so okay, I mean it's fine. Although Ahmadiyas who are Muslims are also minorities in Pakistan, but I would invite other jurors to raise their issue.
I don't have any questions. So if anyone is waiting for me, so please go on.
Okay, so Mr. S. Jaishankar, we understand the disputes of Pakistan, okay, the cross-border firing, the terrorism. We understand the disputes with China, that the territorial expansion thing. But Nepal, who has been a very close ally of India, has sort of due to territorial disputes and political disagreements. Do you think the government's handling of the border issues with Nepal was overly assertive and escalated tensions? What efforts were made to resolve these conflicts, disputes diplomatically before they became major issues? And you talked about Bangladesh, you talked
I
about
guess
the
then we
Bangladeshi
should move
people
forward
that
now.
you talked about Bangladesh and their people. And if we won't support them, who will support them? Then why are we still having those, water disputes and water sharing disputes and border management disputes with Bangladesh?
Okay, let me address that. Yes, there are disputes, but actually diplomacy is a spectra. It does not mean that having few disputes can break our relations. So that's why I said that having few disputes that can be peacefully resolved cannot do not affect our relation as a whole.
No, because our relation as a whole with each and every neighboring country has been, very poor. So that's my question still is unanswered. That why are we still facing some border issues, some water sharing disputes with Nepal, with Bangladesh, and all these countries? Anyways, let's move on to the next juror if anybody asks something.
Any other tutors who want to continue with the questions?
I guess all of them are done.
Can we proceed with the next candidate? So,
Yes, yes, I'm saying that please carry on. I guess all the juniors are wait for just no 5 to 10 seconds and carry it, move on, so that it doesn't create an awkward silence between all.
okay. Next we have Rachit Srivastav. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Am I visible properly?
Yes, now you are visible. Continue with.
Good afternoon, respected ma'ams and respected sir. Respected ma'am, Rajesh Srivastava, first BTech Electronics Engineering. Ma'am, can I start my speech?
Yes, Rachit, please go ahead.
I, Shylock, had been heavily criticized for my murderous bond to get rid of Antonio. The bond which I had made to Antonio was that if Antonio would not be able to repay the amount of 3,000 ducats in the span of 3 months, then I'll take a pound of his flesh. People say that I've tried to murder Antonio, but I want to ask all the people what you all had done had you been in my shoes. The person who hates me because I'm a Jew, the person who mocks my religion, the person who does not allow me to do my business peacefully is Antonio. Was there anything wrong in what I did in taking revenge from Antonio? Taking revenge is the natural behavior of mankind, and I only had one chance to take a good revenge from the person who has caused all the troubles in my life. Would you expect me to be kind and be respectful towards a person who has humiliated me all my life? And why do you see only my part in the bond? Antonio himself agreed to sign that bond. Is Antonio not matured enough to decide what is right and what is wrong for him? If Antonio had a doubt in his mind that there may be a chance where he may not be able to repay the amount in the span of 3 months, then he should not have signed that bond. All what I had asked for was my legal penalty against Antonio. I want to ask you all, if there is a common source of all your problems in your life, would you not try to eliminate it permanently from your life? I also try to do that. Antonio is the cause of all the problems I have in my life. And when I took the matter to the court, then the dear friend of Antonio, Mr. Bassanio, was offering me twice and thrice the amount. And surprisingly, the judge present there was also trying to convince me to take that offer. It was a clear form of bribery committed by Mr. Bassanio. At last, I would like to say that had all the people even showed 10% of the sympathy and care to our Jewish community, which was shown to Antonio by the people present in the court at that time, our Jewish community would not have suffered the humiliations and pains which we have suffered till date. Was I wrong in taking revenge from Antonio in returns of the pains and sufferings our Jewish community has faced because of people like him?
All right, Shylock. You just said that you wanted to eliminate the common source of your problems, right?
Yes, ma'am.
According to you, will killing Antonio remove all the prejudices the Jews face?
No, ma'am, it would set an example that if a Christian wrong a Jew, then the Jews have the right to take a revenge from them.
So, according to you, death is the answer.
Yes, ma'am, because if someone commits a murder, then he is given a death sentence. But we don't call it a murder. It is the result of his misdeeds, and I consider it was the misdeeds of Antonio which took him to that point.
You said that everybody was just, considering Antonio's part. They weren't considering what you went through. Don't you think that you are too biased for yourself? That your point of view was too narrow? Don't you think that
No,
just
ma'am,
because Antonio wronged you, you wanted to kill him instantly? Was that decision on your part
ma'am,
correct?
ma'am, Antonio has humiliated me, and he has caused most of the troubles in my life. He doesn't even allow me to do my business peacefully. So I think my mindset and ideology was right in treating him.
And so your mindset led you to believe that because he troubled you, you were entitled to kill him. How do you justify that?
Because by killing him, my life would have changed drastically. He was the cause of all the problems I had faced in my life. Whether it was whether it was problem related to business or the humiliations my religious community has faced because of people like Antonio, because of Christians like Antonio.
So, by this same logic, if someone else, I'm not talking about religion here, if someone else, be that of any religion, you know, troubles you in any sort of way, your answer would automatically be to kill that person.
Up to a certain level, it could have we could negotiate on that. But if it is above above a certain level, then ma'am, hard actions has to be taken.
So, don't you think your actions are wrong because your first thought when you are being troubled by anything is to kill, to eliminate the problem? You don't consider that as a human life. You instantly think, oh, this thing is troubling me, this person is troubling me, I should kill him. Don't you think that mindset is wrong? Don't you have any problems with that thought?
Actually, it is not only the case between me and Antonio. I think it is the case between the Jewish community and the Christian community. We have been suffering from years because of them. I think I should have set an example by taking the
Okay,
penalty against
you
Antonio.
you think you are speaking on behalf of all the Jewish community, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You believe that. How did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
choose that? Who chose you to, do something on their behalf? Was it a
Someone has to take the action, whether it be me or someone else. Someone has to stand up and take the action.
so you were just starting a riot
It
in
was not a riot, ma'am. I wanted to set an example that we can also retaliate.
you chose to, take the first offense, like you chose to instantly declare war.
Actually, it is we who have been suffering from years because of them.
You have been suffering and then you wanted to declare war. You instantly went for violence.
I wanted to warn all the Christians that if you wrong a Jew, then we can also retaliate. We are not under your feet that we'll take your orders and we'll obey you in everything. We can also retaliate. We can also uh, wrong you.
And you wanted to show that by killing anyone or everyone who comes in your way. And especially based
It
on
was
racism.
Antonio. Antonio is the only one who caused me trouble all my life. And it was himself who signed the bond.
Exactly. Okay, Shylock, tell me one thing. Have you never, had in case maybe in, in passing, just a casual thing that you might say something casual and you don't actually mean that because for you it's actually impossible. But for after some time, after some years, you think like it's not impossible for you. Don't you think that taking that too literally or taking it to extremes is a bit too much?
I think bearing someone's actions can be done up to a certain level. After a certain levels, retaliation and policy of tit for tat or eye for an eye has to be followed.
Okay, one last question, Shylock. I just wanted to confirm you don't have any problem or you don't think there's any problem in your mindset or in your way of thinking. All the things you
Oh,
listed
ma'am,
right
I
now,
think
you don't have any problem with that, right?
yes, ma'am. I think my mindset is right.
Okay. Any other juror?
After a certain level, the
Shylock,
policy of eye for an eye has to be followed.
Just a second.
Shylock,
Raj, may I ask a question before you?
yes, 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 sir.
Okay, so does this policy apply to you as well, Shaima? So your answers have been insufferable for the last few minutes, and should I now attack you just because you're not making a lot of sense? Should you be attacked?
Sir, your volume is very low. I'm not able to hear you
Oh,
properly.
sorry, I'm very sorry. Am I audible? Clearly audible now?
Sir, your
Am I
volume is
audible?
very low.
My volume is low. Just a second. Hmm. How's it now? Guys, can anyone of you validate if my voice is proper or not? Anyone, please?
So you
Yes,
are
sir. It's
audible.
audible. Audible, sir.
Rachit, am I audible? Sorry, not Rachit. Am I audible? Shylock?
Sir, I can hear you, but your voice is very faint.
No issues, then I
Try
guess.
try to hear.
Okay. So if you are putting up with me, then you should have this patience of putting up with people, or else you will fear the whole world of people itself. Anyway, so I was asking that your policy of killing people just because you don't, you cannot just stay with them, or you are not at peace with them. Do you think that this applies to you as well? For
Sir,
example, if I am,
sir, my mindset.
let me speak. Let me speak. If I am irked by your questions, if by your answers, then should I now retaliate and attack you and become aggressive just for the sake of it? Because I cannot put
No,
up with
sir.
your answers. So isn't this self-contradictory?
That if you do not agree with my answers, then it does not mean that I have caused troubles in your life and I have humiliated you. The actions
No, but
of
I am
Antonio
seeing that
directly
you have caused
influenced me.
trouble. Am I the one to judge that who has caused trouble to me and if it is trouble or not, or are you the one who will tell me that is it trouble or not, or is it troublesome or not? This is very good. Huh? You are also telling people that this is troublesome and this is not, and you are also deciding that who to clean and who to not, and you are also the one who's killing people and attacking them. So very good. Anyways, no issues. Just having a bit of fun. Carry on, guys. Jewelers.
Can you please repeat?
Shylock, why do you think Antonio hated you?
Because I was a Jew. Because I am a Jew.
Or you were a greedy Jew who used to lend money to people and charge exorbitant interest? That is why I hated you. Because
So
Antonio was the kind of man,
it was
Antonio
the
was the kind
people.
of
I
man,
think it was the people who approached me, and it was the matter between I and the people who wanted to lend money from me. Why was Antonio concerned with it?
Antonio was the kind of man who who uh, who borrowed 3,000 ducats for his friend by like Antonio was the man who borrowed 3,000 ducats by promising you a pound of flesh. So that was the kind of man Antonio was. So when you say that he was a bad man, he used to humiliate you, don't you think it is contradictory? Because he was the same man who borrowed 3,000 ducats for his friend, just so his friend could marry the love of his
Uh,
life.
Sir, I wanted to say that a man's nature is not same for all the people. He could be good for some and he could be very bad for some. Antonio was very good to Bassanio, Graciano, and all his friends, but he was a villain for our Jewish community.
So when did I mean I have also read Shakespeare. I have also read what Antonio has said. But Antonio never said anything against the Jewish community. Whatever he said against you. He never generalized it for the Jewish community. As far as I have read Shakespeare,
Sir,
as far as I have
the
read Milton
Jews,
Nobles.
sir, the Jews present in Venice
Excuse me, Rachit.
used to do the money lending business, and he used to destroy our business by lending money to people without interest.
That is fair competition. That is fair competition.
Excuse
But
me.
I mean,
for us, it was he who was destroying our business.
so don't you think you are uh, you are using unfair means uh, to assert your monopoly in this money lending business? I mean, he can also say that it is his concern however he lends his money.
Sir,
So
sir,
you
in
are
the
saying that when
Bible,
you charge exorbitant interest, when you are charging exorbitant interest from innocent people, then it is absolutely fine. That is absolutely right. But when he is lending out money without any interest and it is damaging your business, it is wrong, and he deserves death.
sir, in the Bible, it is written that it is forbidden for the Christians to charge interest, but for us, it is not forbidden. So I think I was not doing anything wrong.
Okay,
Try
so
and keep
do
it.
you are you
Try
saying
and keep
that
it
in
to
the
one
Jewish
question per Jew.
in the Torah it is written that it is right in the Jewish holy books it is written that it is right to kill people uh, just because they are in the Torah, in the Jewish holy book, it is written that it is very legitimate, it is very right, it is very moral to kill people just because you don't like them.
No, sir. Actually, sir, killing people is never a good option, but it was the only option left. I wanted to set an example.
Sherlock, one thing here, according to all your questions, you are self-contradicting yourself. First of all, according to your question here, you wanted to kill Antonio because he discriminated between Jews. Right now, you said that, right? But then you also said that you wanted to kill Antonio because Antonio was particularly, hostile towards you. And when we talked about the Jews and a Christian thing, Antonio never did any major discrimination towards any Jew apart from you. He discriminated to against you because of these charges, because of your unorthodox practices in the business, in market and all. So don't you think you are just justifying according to your comfort? Like you're just you're just saying that, yeah, I want to kill him because he is discriminating against Jews, just because he was discriminating against you, or just because he was raising his voice that no, he's charging the interest and all, he's practicing, say, practicing the wrong things. Don't you think you're just doing it according to your convenience? You're just
Ma'am, it was not, but ma'am, I was not the only money lender in Venice. Most of the Jews were money lenders in business. When he was saying against me, it was against my community, against whom he was saying.
but from what I inferred, you just got a reason for killing Antonio. You just got that reason. You want to kill him because of your personal reasons. But you're portraying that you want to kill him because he discriminated against Jews, and you did not provide a justification against that. There was nothing I could infer from your answers that could support this.
Honestly speaking, uh, it was both religious and personal grudges against him. I would admit that I had personal grudges, but it was also religious grudges.
You couldn't justify the racial discrimination Antonio did. That's what I'm saying over here.
Ma'am, when Antonio and his friends used to talk, they never used to treat they used to talk about the Jews, they never used to treat them with respect. They used to disrespect them. They used to talk in a disrespectful tone for them.
So you just assumed that Antonio ultimately hates all Jews just because you didn't like the way he spoke about anything
He hated
among
me,
his
but
friends.
he also, sorry, ma'am.
Like you, first of all, you eavesdropped or whatever inferred from his conversations with his friends, where he is supposed to be informal or he can be himself, say anything. You assumed from those conversations that Antonio ultimately held a grudge against all Jews and he just wanted them eliminated and he did not want them in the society. And you just wanted to kill him based on that. I think it's all an
In
assumption.
Venice,
I don't see any
I'm in
facts
Venice
here.
at that time. I'm in Venice at that time. Most of the Christians were against Jews, and Antonio was one of them.
Give me a proof. Give me a solid reason. Give me
Dialogue,
some proof.
dialogue. Did Antonio intend to kill any Jew? You intended to kill Shylock. Shylock. You intended to kill Antonio, who was a Christian. So doesn't that prove that your hatred for Christianity was much more greater than the hatred Antonio had for the Jewish people?
Sir,
Because
Antonio did not kill any Jew.
Antonio did not kill anyone. Antonio only disrespected you. He might not have agreed with you. He might have had his own disagreements, but he did not kill anyone. You decided to kill Antonio just because he said some things which you did not like. So how do you justify
Sir,
that?
Sir, it is correct that Antonio did not kill any Jew, but he was killing us indirectly through his financial tactics. When you destroy someone's business, you're basically killing him indirectly.
That is fair market. That is free market. That is fair competition. He's competing with you in a
Sir,
free market.
Raj,
sir, for the Christians, it is
Bachit,
forbidden to
Bachit,
charge interest, but it is not forbidden for us.
sorry,
Sir, why
Shylock,
should we follow their
Shylock,
principles?
please, so don't mute him, guys. All I'm saying is to the jurors, guys, please limit it to one question per juror because it is already 2:30 and people have all sorts of works to do on Sundays. So don't drag it. And see, this is also your responsibility to refine your question just so that all of your questions are asked in or covered in one question. And if the person is able to nail it on his first attempt or second attempt, fine. If he or she is not, then move it. But this is written, right? You cannot. First rule is don't question the person, question the personality. Second being, don't try to change their philosophy or anything. You don't need to influence them. So second year jurors, please keep this in mind and limit it to one question per juror. So else it will feel like a drag. No? All the other parts but will feel like the time is getting wasted and also. So please keep this in mind and yes. Please, I guess this should be the last question and please don't ask any further questions from Rachit from here on because it has been quite long.
Jury, is there any question which you like to continue? Thank you, Rashid. You can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Good, Rachit.
I request each of the jury members to please limit your questions. We have a big long queue.
Yes, please, even you are boring the
We
judge.
haven't finished lot one yet. Please limit your questions.
So please try and keep this in mind that you are questioning the personality, not the person. Because see, if you question the person, that is the person who is taking part or the participant, and it kills the purpose of this activity, both for them and for us. Just so, just in case. And also, with this questioning part, this is your responsibility to define your questions as much as possible so that you are covering almost all aspects in just one question. This is the drill. Because, see, in a code, you won't have infinite time to present your argument or your counter question. You have to keep the time limit in mind also. And also, it gets a bit boring for all of us, right? Same person is good because for them it is very spontaneous and sporadic, but for the rest of them it feels like a drag. So keep it a bit entertaining as long as it is carrying.
Can we proceed with the next candidate? Okay, next we have Simon Verma, first BTech Biochemical Engineering. Personality chosen is Dr. S. Shankar. Language preference English. Simon, can we have you here?
एक मिनट सब लोग सुन लो भी आर्यन सर wants to join in. So should I invite him now? If you'll wrap this quickly in the sense that if you won't endlessly ask questions. Because I have just received a text from you. So the opinion of the juniors from the second year and also the second year team, all of you who are present. I can currently see Rishi, Kulika, Srishti, Vikas, Vishakha, the rest of the people. Muskan also. Should I go ahead and invite him or should I ask him to please abstain this time? Quickly.
Invite him.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, cool. You carry on with the court proceedings. I'll just drop a text to him. No problem.
Simon, you may continue. Simon.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you are audible, visible. Please continue with your speech.
Okay. Good afternoon, respected ma'ams and respected sirs. Respected ma'am, Simon Verma, first BTech Biochemical Engineering. Today I am Dr. S. J. Shankar, the External Affairs Minister of our India since 2019. I am here to defend myself on the allegations about our neighboring countries, relations of our neighboring countries. Let me first introduce you with the relations with our neighboring countries like China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. There are so critical relations of our country with them. If I talk about India and Pakistan, the critical relations are there from the starting since our country got independent. India revocated Article 370 in 2020, and as a result, Pakistan downgraded the bilateral trade. Bilateral trade, which is very important between two countries to set up a relation as a trade, exchange of goods, exchange of political interest is very important thing, and that only Pakistan suspended. Despite of that, India was firm at its position, and my point of view was clear, was the same as India's point of view, and that point of view was that uh, that India should stay away from any kind of cross-border terrorism or terrorism should not be supported. According to me, that India would sign any kind of agreement with Pakistan until Pakistan ceased to support cross-border terrorism. My point of view is quite strategic and based on long-term visions. If I talk about the relations of India and China, it all started from 1960 to the Galwan Valley conflict. And my point of view about Galwan Valley conflict is that if there is disengagement and if there is a solution to disengagement and there is return to peace and tranquility, then we can come upon to other possibilities, and that is an immediate issue to look upon. Now, I have finished with India and Pakistan, India and China. Recently, I visited Pakistan to represent our country on 15th and 16th of October as SCO Summit, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where I delivered this speech about India's stability, India's sovereignty, and integrity. And according to me, that India and to avoid any kind of bilateral issues. Bilateral issues is because in should uh, uh, two countries should communicate by using hotlines, flags, rather than using arms armament. This is the major thing, as the security to safeguard the political interest is the major part that should be looked upon it for our country, and that's my point of view for our country. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Jaishankar, I have few questions for you. My first question
Yes.
for you comes with some explanation around it. My first question is, in a very recent speech of yours, you told the Indian journalist that you are going to focus on Pakistan occupied Kashmir issue a lot. But what I can see is that China is continuously strengthening the neighboring countries of India and is funding Pakistan, which clearly states that you cannot take POK by force. And diplomatically, we are not that strong with our neighbors. So, what will be your stand in taking Pakistan occupied Kashmir?
So for me, my countries, so to safeguard the political interest and to safeguard the terrorism is my major point of view for our country. And what if China is helping Pakistan, but still my country, India, has is so political stable globally, like it is in a part of SAARC, BIMS, TEC. And for me, the stand would be not a kind of war, but I focus that India should not compromise with the security or terrorism.
I feel the answer of yours was not well explained. Well, my last question to you is, I will take you to 1999 when Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee quoted that a country which is not having good relations with its neighbors can never excel in future. Considering the current situation of India, we are not walking on the words of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. What is your take on the same?
So the point is, sir, India is maintaining good relations with each and every neighboring countries. It is their fault that they are not able to cooperate us because cooperation takes place from both the sides. India, for me, for my country, the first and the priority is to safeguard the political interest, the to safeguard the political interest. And the major thing is that India would not compromise with anything which would go against our country. And that's it.
Okay, good. Other jurors, please.
So, Dr. S. Jaishankar, under your reign of India's and under your reign as India's foreign minister, we have witnessed a significant decline in our relationship with our neighbors. Let's start with China. Despite multiple rounds of diplomatic talks, the situation of Galwan Valley has escalated quite a bit, and which was not the case since decades. There's Nepal, where long-standing, border disputes, particularly over Kalapani and Lipu Lake, have strained what was once a close and amicable relationship. Even a traditionally strong
So can you
relationship with
pardon the last
Bangladesh
line?
over, sorry,
So could you please pardon the last line?
I'm saying that the India's relationship with China is not very good. Over the Galwan Valley has escalated, which was not the condition since decades. And the secondly, the disputes with Nepal has also escalated over the Kalapani and Lipu Lake. Okay, and coming to Bangladesh, the conditions with Bangladesh have also got worsened after CA and the water sharing ties. Given these examples, do you believe that your strategy of prioritizing strong national security stances over diplomacy has led to an erosion of trust in the region? Furthermore, could it be that your approach while seeking to safeguard India's interest has alienated our neighbors, pushing them into closer alliances with nations like China? They are forming their ties with our enemy countries, not sort of enemy, but yeah, countries which are against us, like China.
Okay, sir. So the point is, so again, I would say that for me, to safeguard a political interest is the major part. Even it is not important to maintain a good relation with all the neighboring countries. When India is quite strong enough on the global platform, and India has good relations with those countries like USA and is a part of several major platforms. And sorry, sir, I cannot answer this question.
Okay, no worries. Any other juror, please?
Any other juror who want to continue with the questions?
Yes, one last question.
Okay. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Mr. Jaishankar,
Okay,
you
okay.
said that
Artist.
you are not having good relationship with your neighbors, but you are having some decent relationship with with other countries who are not your neighbors. But I want to tell you that when those countries resisted you to buy oil from Russia, you were very much resilient towards helping Russia. Don't you feel this step of yours will continuously degrade the relationship of yours with other countries that are not your neighbors?
Sorry, sir, I have no idea about this.
No issues.
One last point to mention. You were supposed to defend Mr. S. Jaishankar that he doesn't have, well, that India does not have very poor relation with the neighbors. But you kind of agreed with that. You yourself said that India has poor relation with neighbors, but we have very good relation with other countries, other strong countries like US and UN. You didn't defend that. Instead, you agreed on that.
No, sir, I agreed on that. The point was that maintaining good relations should be from both sides. No? Single side relationship won't work.
I guess that's enough. You have to move on then. Also, I don't know the exact pronunciation,
Okay.
but Simon or Simon, whatever it is. So when
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
not getting yeah, if you're not getting any answer, then even if you have to say sorry, I'm not getting the answer, or I cannot recall, or I cannot answer that immediately, you should also replicate what that personality has done in such incidents, if he has or she has ever. So in your case, what I can observe is that you lost steam midway. You were answering questions where perfectly, almost perfectly in the beginning. But then again, due to my me imposing limitations of asking one question, all of them compiled their questions into one. So this is my advice to the jurors, that rather than combining multiple questions into one, ask one question that you think is the best suitable question for this candidate or a particular candidate. So, if you will keep very long questions, so people will forget it because of the attention spans right now. So do keep that human side also in mind by question. Anyway, good job. I guess Shaka, you can please carry on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Very good. You can leave. We'll have the next candidate. Next, we have Akshay Srivastava, first BTech Electronics Engineering. Personality chosen is Oppenheimer and language preference is English. Akshay, please start.
Good afternoon, respected ma'am and respected sir. Respected ma'am, Akshay Srivastava, post BTech Electronics Engineering. Ma'am, I am audible? I
It's
stand
Akshay,
before
you're
you.
audible and visible. You may start.
I stand before you today as a man who is uniquely shaped by a singular event, the creation of atomic bomb. My name is J. Robert. I had led the scientific efforts that culminated in the development of most destructive weapon ever unleashed by man. I, I had spent uh, I had spent countless hours reflecting on its achievement and its consequences and the moral implications of it. Set out to create of such devastating was our belief that Nazi Germany was and the world was already out of such regime possessing nuclear weapons. I was in this context that the sense of the sense of urgency and necessity set out to create. And by 16, in the first Mexican president, I I am become
Akshat,
I do
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I think तुम्हारी आवाज सही से नहीं आ रही है. I think you should just go to settings, voice में push to talk लगा लो तुम. I guess that's the problem. वो कर लो and then we can continue.
okay.
You know how to do that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, push to talk लगा कर then you can continue.
Also, you are Akshat, you're constantly rocking, I guess, back and forth. So that is also creating some trouble. And your voice is not properly reaching to the center of the mouth. So try and avoid that and be a bit more loud as well.
Yes.
Ma'am, I am audible now.
Yes.
Ma'am, should I restart?
Yeah, start from the top.
Good evening, respected ma'ams and respected sir. Akshay Srivastava, first BTech Electronics Engineering. I stand before you today as a man who had been irrevocably shaped by a singular event, the creation of atomic bomb. My name is J. Robert Oppenheimer. I led the scientific efforts that culminated in the development of most destructive weapon ever unleashed by mankind. I have spent countless efforts reflecting on its consequences, its achievement, and the moral weight it bears on my shoulder. We didn't set out to create a bomb of such devastating power lightly. It was our belief, our fear, that Nazi Germany was racing towards developing nuclear weapons. And the thought of such regime possessing nuclear weapons was intolerable. I was in this context that out of urgency and necessity, we did set out to create a nuclear weapon. On July 16, 1945, when the first bomb was dropped on New Desert, Mexico, I thought of some words from Bhagavad Gita. It is that I am become death, the destroyer of the world. I didn't regret my scientific works. I believed and still believe that the pursuit of knowledge is a noble endeavor. I uh, uh, I didn't, and I think that future generation will learn from our experiences, and they will think of they will first find their consequences of their action, and uh, uh, then they will guide it by the desire for peace and survival, not for destruction. Thank you. Sir, I had prepared only up to this.
The question of levels. Have any questions?
Okay, so Mr. Oppenheimer, I think I want to ask you, did your scientific thinking and your morals conflict when you were making this atomic bomb song? And what your opinion on this?
No, sir, my scientific they were not conflicting because my main motto was to defend. My main motto was since the President Roosevelt has given us a task to prepare the atomic bomb, so my main motto was to prepare what the task has been given to me, and to prepare an atomic bomb to defend ourselves.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so
Okay.
Oppenheimer.
Yes.
So Oppenheimer, Japan was already losing the war. The Axis powers were already losing the war. So what was the necessity to create the bomb when it was already destined that they were bound to lose? Like there was no chance the Axis forces could win. When
So first of all,
the
so
day
first of
war
all,
started, the day World War II started, everyone knew that the Axis powers were going to lose.
yes.
So why do you think it was necessary? Why do you think the development of the atomic bomb was necessary?
Sir, first of all, it was necessary because when the Einstein and Leo informed to the president that the Germany could can make the atomic bombs at any time and they can use it for anyone. So it was out of urgency and necessity that we created the atomic bomb. And sir, we dropped the atomic bomb onto the Japan because the Japan first of all Japan. First of all, Japan attacked the Pearl Harbor, and then to defend ourselves, we dropped the bomb to the Japan. It was to counter the Japan attack.
Other jurors,
Okay.
please.
Okay. So, Mr. Oppenheimer, during the Manhattan Project, you were aware of the long-term side effects and long-term radiation effect of these radiations. Yet the project continued with little regard for the aftermath of such an attack. Do you think that do you think the rush to develop the bomb during the war justified ignoring the potential humanitarian consequences? Was there enough consideration given to the suffering that would follow, both immediately and for generations due to radiation consequences?
Yes, sir, I know about the consequences, but I has the power only to advise. I had the power to advise, not to decide. The decision was of the president. I can only make them inform about what the consequences could be. But I had also uh, concerned the authorities, the government about the consequences of the atomic bomb. But the last decision was of president, so I cannot, I cannot put my views on this.
But you were the one who, after the first successful test of atomic bomb, said that I am become death. That's a just anyway. Any other juror, please?
Okay, one question. So before Oppenheimer, decided to blame Oppenheimer on Japan. My question is that nowadays in our technology, in our times, we have this fail-safe mechanism. In case you forget a password, you always allowed to reset it, given that you have the original credentials. In your case, if you were so unsure of what will happen to the bomb or what people will make of it, and what use will it be taken to, you could have also implemented a fail-safe mechanism. Being given the great scientist that you are, or were, easily you could have put some trigger mechanisms that could have stopped the bomb if it wasn't according to your ideals or if it wasn't being utilized according to your beliefs or thinking. Then what purpose you built it for? Also, it was a bomb for God's sake. So it is used to killing people. It is not used for flowering your plants in your garden. So if you are building a bomb, then you must be aware that it will kill people. And if you were aware that it will be a destructive force, again, there could have been some contingency plans also. So why could you not think of them altogether, or you did not think of them altogether in spite that you have to make America win the war? What were your reasons?
Sir, first of all, uh, I have make the authorities, I informed the authorities about the consequences of the atomic bomb and the destruction it can cause to the civilians and uh, and the country. But I the main reason to develop the atomic bomb was that the president formed a team of military officials and scientists, and they had given the task to prepare the atomic bomb. Uh, so, sir, we cannot ignore the we cannot ignore the uh, uh, we cannot ignore the sir. I don't know.
No issues, no problem. If the viewers have any questions, please ask. Or else I'd suggest that it would be better if you wrap it up quickly now. The jurors.
Okay, any other jurors? Do you have any question? Okay. Thank you, Akshat. Very well tried.
Thank you, ma'am.
Performance. You can leave now.
Thank you.
So the slot one is over. So we request you a break for 15 minutes.
So before requesting me, you should inform the participants because they are more important right now. All of them who are actually waiting in the
Okay,
icebreaker
sir.
lounge, and one of them is in icebreaker. Okay, so all of them are named icebreaker. So there is one icebreaker one, and there is one icebreaker two. They're not exactly named one and two, but the one with more people is icebreaker, and one and two. So you'll get it. तो उनसे बोल दो जाके कि वो लोग अभी निकल जाए, और ये अभी एक स्लॉट हुआ है ना इतनी देर में, इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि एक क्वेश्चन तक लिमिटेड रखो ना, क्योंकि इतना स्पॉन्टेनियस चलाते रहोगे ना तो नहीं खत्म होगा ये। हमारे इंटरव्यूज ऐसे 1:30 बजे तक नहीं खिंच गए थे, तो याद याद रखो ये चीज़ है ना, और ब्रेक ले लो और इन लोगों को इन्फॉर्म कर दो कि ये सब वापस आ जाए, या फिर अगर अभी नहीं कर रहे हो तो मतलब इमीडिएटली अगर स्लॉट टू स्टार्ट नहीं करना चाहते तो फिर टाइम अपना डिसाइड करके कर लो। और आर्यन सर का मेरे पास टेक्स्ट आया था एक्चुअली में, वो कहीं बिजी थे, उन्होंने बोला 2 बजे के बाद उनके कुछ प्लान्स थे और उन्होंने मुझे बताया था पर मैं भूल गया। तो ये तुम एक काम करो कि अगर देखो अभी स्लॉट वन हुआ है, मतलब स्लॉट टू और कर लो, स्लॉट थ्री फोर को चाहे तो इवनिंग में कर देना, अगर कर सको तो फिर पूरा लगा दो, वरना फिर तुम्हारा दिन इसी में चला जाएगा इसका। तो ये, और जूनियर्स को भी बता दो कि फर्स्ट ईयर वाले कि अभी रहना है कि जाना है, ऐसे भी। और मैं लीव कर जाऊंगा, मतलब अभी मेरा तो कुछ काम है नहीं, मैं जा सकता हूँ। ये सब यार एक दूसरे की तरफ देख लो, इधर एक और करते हैं।
Yes, sir.
ठीक है,
So
मैं
we'll be
लीव कर,
starting the next slot by 3:20. So we request you
ठीक है ठीक
then
है। और
to
यार
join.
बाकी भी जो थर्ड ईयर सीनियर थे उनको कॉल कर दो, पिछले सुमित सर वगैरह को बुलाओ यार, फैमिली का इवेंट हो रहा है, फैमिली इवेंट में नहीं आए लोग, बुला के लाओ। और निशांत सर का भी मैसेज आया था, वो आए थे बीच में पर उनका कुछ एप्टी वगैरह कुछ था आज, तो वो लीव कर गए इस वजह से, शायद वो लोग भी आ जाएंगे बाकी के स्लॉट्स में, मैं उनको टेक्स्ट डाल दूंगा, तो मुझे टाइम बता देना।
श्योर सर।
अभी मैं लीव करता हूँ, ठीक है।
सर